Bonus vid. Greetings, my fellow gamers. It is I, Wraith King, and welcome back to another episode of Bonus Video. If you are new to the channel, I make random videos every once in a while about just about anything. Mainly, they're usually reviews on games, and I'm planning on reviewing film sometime in the near future. Today, we are taking a look at Destiny 2 and its free-to-play experience. Free-to-play is a bit of a stretch, though, to be honest. And since you guys really like to hear me bash games constantly, I think I'm going to start with the critical half of my review right now and then get to the positives in the near end. So, alright, let's cut straight to the chase. Destiny 2 is a fairly free-to-play game, sort of. That is, if you are a console player, half of the game is locked behind subscriptions. This is definitely going to be a long video, so grab a snack, grab a friend, and sit down and relax. This is going to stretch on for quite some time. Starting out the game, my experience was rather pleasurable. Oh boy, was I another lamb to the slaughter, my fellow gamers. As I was immersing myself in the gripping story of this game, I noticed that this was a first-person shooter. And I must admit, I am not at all talented at first-person shooter games. I consider myself rather mediocre as a player of these types of games. But they are very fun, and this game did offer some very interesting controls that felt very comfortable for its genre. Yes, I know, this is the critical half, but don't worry, my fellow gamers, the fire is coming. After I finished the tutorial, I was thrown into a lobby filled with NPCs, and I was directed straight to an NPC that nearly made me uninstall the game. PC players are probably wondering why this NPC in particular would make me want to uninstall the game. He is a very great NPC, and he's actually one of my favorite characters in the game. But he is involved in what we like to call strikes. For PC players, strikes are free to play anytime they wish. They can queue up with their friends and queue up with the team, or with their guild if they so please, but not for console players. We are subdued to a subscription requirement, and this subscription requirement spreads out to the Gambit and Crucible and raids of their kind in the game, gating off a massive part of the game that would otherwise be free-to-play in other free-to-play titles on the console such as Warframe and even Smite. Smite is nothing like Destiny 2. But the reason I use it as an example is it's a free-to-play game, and it does not require PlayStation Plus for me to play the mainly PvP experience. I can play that with my friends or my guild if I please. I can play the entire game for absolutely free. No subscription required. And the same is said for Warframe. Now, why am I bringing up other games that might not be much like Destiny 2? Destiny 2 is now a free-to-play game, so it will have to compete with the other games that are free-to-play on all platforms like it is. So in this section of the video, I will continue to point out other games that compete with Destiny 2, and I will describe not only their differences, but what makes them a superior experience compared to Destiny 2. I know it might sound a little cold, but I have to do this because Destiny 2 is now a free-to-play game, and if they're going to do this, they have to be better than the other free-to-play games that are on consoles and PCs all over the world. So if anything, this is just going to be hard medicine to swallow. As I was saying earlier, Destiny 2 is locked massively behind subscription requirements on console platforms, particularly the PS4 because that is the main platform I played this on. Normally, I would be okay with subscriptions because I have played plenty of games that do have subscription requirements for multiplayer and other things in the game just to expand upon the experience, and I never really had a problem with that. But the reason it bothers me here is a little more deep than just multiplayer. This game has something called exotic items. These exotic items come in the form of weapons and armor. and at least 70 to 60% of the items in this game that are exotic are dropped from random enemies in the game. You can kill pretty much any creature in the game and they have a chance to drop an exotic engram, which grants you a random exotic item that is in the exotic pool, which consists of a lot of exotic items. But some of these items are locked behind what is called exotic quests. One of these exotic items being the Risk Runner. This is a very powerful submachine gun that you will find massive uses for later in the game. It is tied to a quest that requires you to play a strike, and that's pretty much all you need to do is complete a strike. PC players should be able to complete this fairly quickly because they do not have a subscription tied to strikes and crucibles and gambits. Now, I know I'm bringing up the PC player's experience quite a bit. I'm not saying they should be able to pay some type of subscription too. No, I don't want them to be a part of this nightmare. I'm simply implying that it's completely unfair that console players have to be punished with a subscription requirement just to experience an important part of the game that would otherwise be kind of normal to the experience. How do I know this? Well, I've had the unfortunate pleasure of actually using one of these subscriptions. Don't worry, I didn't pay for anything. I just had a free trial for quite some time. And I've never really found the opportunity to use it until I started making this review. During my 2-week trial, I was able to play strikes, and I was able to play the Crucible, and I was able to play the Gambits. The rewards I got from playing those game modes wasn't really that different from playing through the world that they actually have already in the game, which makes buying the subscription just to play these game modes a little worthless. Other than just to finish some of the exotic quests and complete the strike that the exotic quests want me to do, or complete the Crucible by getting a couple hundred headshots on players or something like that. And I also purchased an expansion for Destiny 2, and with that expansion, apparently there were some exotic quests that were tied to it. However, those exotic quests required me again to either go to the Crucible or play a strike, or go to the Gambit and get a certain amount of kills. One quest in particular was the quest for the Thorn. This is an exotic hand cannon, or magnum if you will, that has some pretty cool, unique passives that make gameplay pretty fun. But regardless of spending $20, I had to go through a massively painful and extremely grindy quest line that required me to get 100 kills, well over 100 kills for some, and the weapon I had to use had to be a void elemental weapon. If it was not a void weapon, none of the kills I got would count, and I would get bonus points for getting headshots with a hand cannon that was also a void elemental weapon. But if you did not have a hand cannon that was a void elemental, but you did have like a machine gun or a submachine gun or a rifle that had that element attached to it, it would take you days to complete. And that's not even the hard part of this quest. They want you to play a strike that is harder than the regular strike. All the enemies are completely enhanced, and if you do not have a fire team with you, they don't queue you up with anyone like they normally do in strikes. If you don't have a fire team with you, they will throw you into this game mode alone. Let's say you died right after a checkpoint, and you just killed hordes, and I mean hordes of enemies, but you got killed. You'll respawn back to your checkpoint, but all of those enemies you just killed will be revived, and you will have to kill them again. Luckily, I had a guild at the time, and none of them, may I add, wanted to help me out with this quest except for one guy. We spent hours trying to complete this quest. Hours. And by the time we actually got to the final boss on that strike, we died again and again and again. And guess what happened, my fellow gamers? My game crashed. And we had to start all over again. Luckily, we did find one exotic engram in that quest, and my buddy did at least get an exotic, and I got an exotic as well. But we did not get the Thorn. What made that boss battle really difficult is every time the boss kills you once, no matter what part of the match you were in, The entire boss fight will reset, his health bar will go all the way back to full, you had to do the entire fight again. And what made that fight even more difficult is he was not the only enemy in that room. There were hordes upon hordes of extremely powerful enemies, and we had to think of strategies as to how we could actually kill them and kill the boss as well. And what made the boss irritating is he constantly fired at you. Constantly. He just did not stop. And at a certain part of the fight, he started shooting bombs at you that nearly insta-kill you. But after you get past that part, 2 massive enemies you must kill in order to complete the quest and get the thorn. Before you even think about killing the boss, you must kill these guys, will appear in the room, and you have to kill them while the boss shoots at you. And these guys, by the way, can one-shot you. And trust me, there are other exotic items in the game that have even crazier conditions to get them. There's this item called the Whisper of the Worm. It's an exotic sniper rifle, and it has one of the most absurd conditions I have ever seen in a video game just to get it. And it's just a sniper rifle, really. It does do a few fancy things, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it's just a weapon, and all it does is kill things funny. And you can do that on this game with the regular weapon. See, I killed him funny. Don't get me wrong though, a lot of the exotic items are more than just weapons that are kinda flashy and do something just a little different. But we'll be getting to those in a minute. Remember, this is the bashing half of the video, my fellow gamers. But even though I bought an expansion, it didn't just give me any weapon. I spent $20, you would think, hey, maybe they should just have a simple quest for you to complete. No, you have to complete all these difficult quests just to get a weapon. I have purchased many expansions from other games all the time. They have never, ever gone this far with the quest. So that's another negative out the way. Let's talk about the so-called story. Now, cinematics is something I can safely say I have some experience with. I'm not much of a gamer, but I have gone into film and I have gone into writing many times before. I am a writer and I am an artist. I design things for people all the time, different logos, and I actually make paintings for people. I am very strong in this field is what I'm trying to say. And right off the back, I can say right now that this is not written the best way. Now, I don't want to sound rude. It is still a decent campaign. All the campaigns are very good, but the Forsaken campaign, I'll just say this, Destiny devs, I really do love Bungie. I love Bungie. I love all the developers behind that. As I said many times before, Halo is a massive part of the inspiration in my life to be an artist and the writer I am today. But I have to admit, this is not the best written story I've seen. Right off the back, at the beginning of the story, they kill off a main character, and they've actually used this massive death in the game as a marketing tool. There were screenshots, there were posters, heck, it was even on the cover of the game. Hey, one of your favorite characters is dead now. Doesn't that make you want to really play this game? And to make matters worse, they showed his death scene at the very beginning of the campaign once I started playing it. And then they said one of my least favorite things I've ever seen in a film or a cinematic of a game sometime earlier. But regardless of my least favorite trope in cinematic history, there is some seriously beautiful and detailed graphics in these cutscenes in the game. It is just eye candy. It's beautiful. Like, they look real. I really appreciate the work that went behind this. Whoever did this, the team behind this, congratulations. This is beautiful. Well done. Man, Wraith King, this is supposed to be the negative half. You're going on the positives. Come back to the dark side. There are plenty of jokes that don't land and plenty of lines that don't make any sense and throw you completely off.
Any last words? How's your sister?
Who the heck is his sister? Woo, boy, he shot his behind. His sister must have picked on him or something because, boy, he didn't like that. Although I can forgive it because the rest of the story is rather good. I don't really have many other complaints other than that. But alright, let's talk about another negative, which are the raids. Even though they are a massive part of the game and even some exotic quests are tied to raids, and you don't have a clue on what exactly you're looking at or what exactly you're supposed to do. They just throw you in here all alone and expect you to know what to do. And none of this is explained at all, so they practically expect you to open up your browser and go YouTube or find something on Wikipedia that tells you what to do from there. So if you ask me, they should just completely ditch the whole subscription requirements for raids and gambits and all that other stuff and just start a sponsorship for Google. Heck, they'd make more money off of that than they would be the subscription because I actually spent more time on Google than I have on this entire game. At the start of the game, I thought PlayStation Plus was something you just needed to play the game in general. So I was actually spending the remainder of my time before I actually opened up my browser to find out if it was true, running around the lobby and fooling around with NPCs. Hey random strangers, I know you're dealing with a hard breakup, but hey, do you mind if I be a part of this conversation for just a few minutes? Man, I look cool walking right here. Hey baby, how you doing? How you doing? Can you just hold up just 1 second? Hey, whoa, hey, hold up a second. I just want your number. Just give me your number, honey. Oh, wait, you're married? Oh, he doesn't have to know. Hey, what do you guys talk about? Relationship problems? Oh, who broke up with Brad? Oh, you don't say. Oh, is she still available? Because I am. The game offers little to no guidance at all, leading you completely away from one of the bigger parts of the game, and that's the campaign. It doesn't even tell you how to start it, but instead introduces you to Strikes, the Gambit, and Crucible. It basically just throws you into a massive maze and expects you to find the way outs on your own. The other free-to-play game that I mention a lot in this video is Warframe. It had a similar problem with story, but at least they had levels that you had to play one at a time before you could actually unlock the next story mission. And it was actually done pretty well because it allowed you to progress through the game from level to level and unlock the harder campaigns as the game progressed. But not in this game. You can buy the Forsaken campaign and completely skip all the other campaigns if you want to, and you won't even know the other campaigns even existed. Heck, you won't even know how to start the Forsaken campaign without looking up exactly where and how to start that quest. So thanks to Google, I was actually able to start the Forsaken quest after looking up how to even start it. Making this game extremely unreliable even though I bought something from it. And it did not tell me where the exotic items were located or where their quests were even available. Again, it just expected you to figure it out on your own or just look it up on Google. Proving yet again that Google is actually more helpful than the game. Seriously devs, you should totally think about that Google sponsorship. Just imagine, instead of having a PlayStation Plus requirement and Xbox Live requirement, you should just say, use the Google browser for 5 minutes and then you can play this strike. You guys would make so much money off that sponsorship and people will figure out how to actually play your game because they're using the Google browser. I call that a win-win. After soloing so many raids and after playing this game all by myself, it is clear that this game actually has a bigger solo experience than it does a multiplayer experience, and it just doesn't make any sense to me as to why they have so much locked behind multiplayer when multiplayer isn't even the main focus of this game. I spent most of my time alone throughout the campaign, and I spent most of my time alone grinding for the weapons that I have right now. And by the looks of it, they expect you to play a lot of it alone because they threw me into this raid completely alone. I was not given a queue feature at all, nobody joined in with me, and my guild does not want to help me either. And honestly, I don't blame them. They probably know I haven't played through this raid before, and they just don't really feel like explaining it all to me, and they have other things to do in the game anyway. I don't blame them for not wanting to help me. This game spends no time holding your hand at all, and it does not help you with anything. It expects you to either Google or figure it out on your own, so that in itself is a massive negative. I only had to open the Google browser a few times for Warframe when I just started because I did not know where to start. But after those few times, I never had to open up the Google browser again. But even as I record this video, I still have no idea how exactly to play through some of these raids. There are so many rooms, so many nooks and crannies that I have to know in order to complete this freaking raid. And I have not been able to complete it because they have respawn completely restricted. What does that mean? If you die once, the entire raid restarts all over again. If you just die, you are sent right all the way back to the beginning. You have to kill everything again. You have to roam the hallways for hours trying to figure out where everything is all over again. What the heavy fire? Whoa, oh, there's too many snipers! What? There's too many snipers! What? No, I didn't want to throw that! No, I didn't want to do that either! Nah! Oh, man, tell me there's a checkpoint. Tell me there's a checkpoint in there. Oh, boy. There has to be, though. There's no way. What? What? No, tell me the enemies are gone. The enemies have to be gone. Are you kidding me? They're not gone. They restarted the entire raid. No, I'm done. So this game obviously has a lot of problems with multiplayer, even though they want you to pay for it. But that about does it for my negative half of the review. But don't worry, the positive half is pretty short, but it is a decent reason to pick up the game if you are interested in it. The campaigns, as I said, they're not bad at all. They're actually pretty enjoyable. I found myself pretty immersed into the story regardless of the writing, even though if it was off at times, it was still pretty good. And the campaigns that they have to offer aren't really that expensive. They're usually around, like I said, $20 to $30, and they are a campaign that you can play by yourself without any requirements of a subscription at all. And actually, 3 of the longer campaigns are free. Yes, every campaign that you do buy has some exotic weapons in them that require you to either play a strike or something like that. But at the end of the day, the campaign is still fun and you're having fun with the game, and that is enough reason to buy the campaign. And to be completely honest with you, I've actually been able to find a lot of the exotics I have right now, most of them, through random world drops. And there's actually a merchant that spawns every Friday and leaves every Tuesday that gives you exotic items. If you find some legendary shards, and you can actually get these shards by destroying legendary items, and you find those all the time just by playing the game. This exotic right here I found by simply playing the game, and I actually bought it from that merchant. And that merchant is handled very well. You don't know where he's going to appear. So you got all these people looking for him and all that, but at this point, there's actually a tracking website that knows exactly where he's going to appear on the map and tells you what he has in his shop and everything. But he's still a really cool character, and you can actually find a lot of the exotics in this game by completing solo quests that are actually pretty easy to complete on your own. That crazy looking sword, for example, I actually got that from finding a whole bunch of hidden items on Mars. And as I was doing that, I actually found another exotic from killing a random enemy. It's been hours, and I've honestly just been wandering around at this point. What? What?
Decrypting the files now.
What is that?
What do they want? To transform.
Whoa, hang on a minute.
They need Rasputin to do it.
Find a safe place here.
They're just gonna make him
We're gonna
mad.
take a look at this weapon. What is this thing? I think it's like that laser. Is it a yellow or not yellow, but is it a blue laser? Because there is one exotic laser that's like really powerful. I think it's that fire one though, which is also really good. So it's the orange one. We're gonna disintegrate some folk with this. Hang on a second, I'm trying this out right now. Oh, that cat just got disintegrated in one hit. I better save them bullets. Oh man, that is a cool weapon. And I found another exotic just by doing a quest for the spider. I don't know how many of those bounties I actually have left over there, so I'm gonna have to go back to the Tangled Shore and see if the spider has anything else up. I guess for now, since we're on this planet, I might as well just do the public event. Let's claim this bounty real quick, and then we'll think about that public event. Huh? You guys don't understand. That's the reason I've been doing these spider bounties. The Lord of Wolves. I finally found it. Yeah, it hasn't been that long. It's only been like a couple weeks, but this is one of my favorite weapons in the game. Thank you, Spider. Thanks. And not long before that, I just killed some random enemy on the side of the road, and he gave me one of the toughest submachine guns in the game, no joke. Having trouble fighting me, buddy? Woo, this sword is cool. What? RNG? What was that? Wait a minute, let me claim this loot here. Let me just claim this here loot. Wow, what was that? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Oh, it's another exotic item, so I gotta remove this one. And let's equip that. Let's take a look. The Huckleberry. This thing is busted. Yes, please, RNG. Not only are the drop rates for very powerful items a lot better than most RPG games, but the worlds are extremely expansive. There's open worlds on every single map on this game, free for you to explore without the need of paying any type of subscription at all. And in these worlds, there are campaigns that you can complete, but of course you gotta find out how to actually find these campaigns and start them. They're actually all located in the tower, and you have to talk to an NPC and they'll give them all to you. But there are a lot of things you can do without subscriptions, is what I'm trying to say. The campaigns you can play for absolutely free. And most all of the exotic armor that's in this game is available for free. You don't need a subscription to get any of these exotic items. And even some of the exotic items that take up a majority of this game are not found through quests. They're actually dropped randomly throughout the world. So if you have a favorite exotic item, 9 times out of 10 it's not obtained through a quest, and you have to find it randomly throughout the world or buying it from that NPC that spawns every Friday. So despite a lot of this game being locked behind subscriptions for console players, it's still a pretty expensive game, and it does have an experience for you regardless. And let's say you're not a console player, let's say you're a PC player, none of these subscriptions even exist. You can just download this game right now and play it and have fun with it. Right now, like seriously, you can do all of these things I just said for free of charge. Now, of course, you have to buy the expansions, but you can experience strikes, you can play gambits, you can play the Crucible if you want. You can play all of these things in the game for absolutely free. My final verdict for console players is a 5 out of 10. This is actually a very average game. Why do I say it's an average game? Well, it's just a looter shooter, and at the end of the day, once you complete the campaigns, there's nothing much to do besides wander around and shoot things. Don't get me wrong, there are side quests you can do. There's these things called bounties that appear every week. There's a lot you can do as far as that is concerned, but you're going to get really bored of it quick, and it's just going to be an alright experience for you. It's pretty different as a free-to-play game. I haven't seen anything that's like this that's free-to-play before, but there are better choices for you out there, like Warframe and like Smite. All of those games, you don't need to have a subscription to enjoy a majority of the game. You can just play them and then it's there for you. So, on that level, this is definitely just an average game. But as for PC players, and let me tell you, this game right here is making me want to sell my console and buy a PC. Because I would like to experience this game in its solo experience and play with my friends on their PCs and just play through the raids together as a team and complete these quests as a team, because it would be a lot of fun. The only complaint I really have about just the experience with other players and PvP and all that is there's no world chat feature to where I can find a guild or find a fire team or actually find other people who are willing to play this game with me, because my friends on my console, most of them don't really play Destiny. Most of my friends either play Warframe or Smite or Fortnite. None of them really play Destiny 2. So, in the end of the day, I don't really have a lot of people to play this with. But there's no real way I can really find anybody other than just wandering around in strikes. And again, I can't do that because I have to pay a subscription. But you see what I'm saying? There's nothing I can really do to find anyone who's willing to play this with me. So having a world chat would be perfect. It'll make it easier to recruit for guilds and make it easier to find a decent fire team. So my overall rating for PC players is a 9 out of 10. It is a brilliant game. You have all the time in the world to look for a fire team and to look for players who are actually willing to play with you. And you don't have the restraint of a subscription to pay every year. For PC players, this really is a free-to-play game, so definitely go download this if you're a PC player. It's really fun. I wouldn't pick it up if you're a console player. I would definitely try out Warframe first and maybe some of the other free-to-play games, because they'll give you what this game is offering and then some. And you don't need a subscription for any of it. But yeah, that's my opinion on the free-to-play experience for Destiny 2. Now, I personally would love it if you guys would share this video with the devs, share it with your friends as well, because I would just like the devs to see it. I would really appreciate it if that subscription nonsense was taken away for console players so I can actually play it and give it a better review for consoles. But as of right now, it's just not that good for console. But in the meantime, my fellow gamers, take it easy for me, and please do have a blessed day. Bye.